Ta-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Excellent connection. Let's hope that is true. Can I pull this up over here? Yes, I can. Can I have the chat? Nice. I'm so prepared today. Damn. Stay hydrated. Woo! It's time for more Serum 2, as if you all haven't had enough news on Serum 2 when it came out. I feel like the YouTube audio space was flooded with Serum 2 live streams and news. The day it came out, I opened up my YouTube and there's 5 live streams happening at the same time about Serum 2. Hello everybody coming in. Hey Dixarion, who do we got here? A lot of people. Y42, alles klar, Val, liebe Grüße. Yep, liebe Grüße zurück. Nice. I am so prepared today. I got my chat on my phone on the side. I don't need to constantly go back and forth. Beautiful. And I have been busy making stuff in Serum 2. Actually, let me see if I can... How do I do this? I kind of want to connect my keyboard, but I need one USB port for the mic. And one for the... Oh, Jesus. I think I can do this. Let me see. Do I have a USB-C to C cable here? That's all I need. I don't need my keyboard for now. I think we should be fine for a while. Oh, I sound quiet. Overall quiet? I can adjust that bit. Yep. I mean, -6, -7. If I sound quiet on your TV, turn your TV up. Or how's the volume level between... Let me load up like a tear-out gun here. This sounds loud over here for me, even. How's volume of Serum versus volume of me? Mic's a bit lower than DAW. I can boost mic a tiny bit. And maybe make DAW a little bit loud as fuck. Yeah, I know that this is probably a very loud sound. I probably shouldn't swear, right? Because of the... Limit this a bit. Synth way louder than me. Yeah, of course he's a loud synth. I feel like now somewhere here. Also, yeah, this is a very ouch. This is a very painful transient. I think we should be good like this. Pew pew. I think it's the mic. I can boost the mic even more. Don't want to be too crazy though. Oh wait, I can even check here. Yeah, now we should be about equal. I don't want to. I want to hurt your ears. I think we're kind of good now. Leveled it a bit. I can level this here too. Whee! Nice, we figured it out. Okay, mic was perfect. Alright, nice. Oh, Dixarion, I saw your name in the Serum 2 manual. Oh damn, I didn't know that. That's so sweet. I did supply some of the Serum 2 wavetables. In the digital, you might remember dinosaurs and all these FM ones, except for FM piano, like Dirty Square. Fish flips and morphs into swordfish. I love you, Steve, for including that one. It's ridiculous, and it's a fish that morphs into a swordfish that faces the other direction. I love that made it into the Serum 2 wavetables. That's my absolute favorite thing. Is this a live stream or a video? This is a live stream. Serum 3 is out now. Yeah, so I came today to make some sounds in here and to show you some of the hidden features. They're like more or less hidden. I'm gonna initialize this for now. There are a lot of things kind of hidden in a way where you can right-click things and there's something in the menu, like on the wavetables. Here on the wavetable position, there's smooth interpolation. Once you turn that on, you have frames between the frames. I think this goes beyond the morph stuff that you do here. So that is even smoother, and you can just turn that on, even if the wavetable you're using only has a few frames, and that is neat. So we've got tiny little things already here. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Yeah, you can think of it as like morph crossfade, but it's applied. I think it's on top of that in a way. It looks like it is the same thing, but let's check because we can see visually, at least here. And I don't know about the resolution of this knob here. If that resolution goes over 265, then it could be better than just morph crossfade. Let's do that and have a quick listen. Okay. Undo that. Where's the undo? Oh, up here. Smooth interpolation. In this case, it sounds similar, but you might realize sometimes certain wavetables, if you add the morph crossfade, it sounds like the volume is kind of dipping between each of the frames. I don't know if that still happens with smooth interpolation. Someone test this out and let me know. Someone says, if I recall correctly, the smooth interpolation mode works best in combination with a morph mode. So, continuing from this, let's check. Actually, let's go and check if there are other right-click things happening. For example, on the tuning up here, we can turn off pitch tracking or change this to harmonics and ratio. If you've used Faceplant, you might recall that. One that I really like that I didn't know about is in the drive section of the filter. This has a clean mode, which can sometimes be nice. Let's see if I can get an example to work where we might hear it make a difference. Nice. Fun that the clean mode actually in this example has a little more raspiness to it than without it. But just know that it's there and it does change the sound of the filter drive. Thought your granular synth tutorial was epic, man. Glad to see more great content from you again. Oh, thank you. I love granular synths. Okay, a lot of these little hidden features also apply to some of these other oscillators. For example, the Spectral oscillator with its phase lock, transient, sample length to BPM, key tracking, reverse. You can change the range of the scan speed in the Spectral oscillator. How was the Dying Saws wavetable made? I was actually using the Serum FM Wavetable Studio, which is a program so far. Last time I checked, it was only for Windows, and it's a dedicated program, not a plugin, just to make wavetables for Serum with. It was by a company that had something with shrimp in the name. Just look up Serum FM Wavetable Studio. I don't know if it still exists. So let's load a sample in here. Actually, I made like a saw sweep or some random sound. Let me have a look real quick. Let me put something in here. Actually, let's just take the snare. So it's playing back the sample at its original pitch, but you can already hear it's kind of missing its attack. This has a nice little to it, and this has gotten soft, so we could turn on transient. Nice, we got that back. Also, this is very loud. The limiter could have also been a reason. And if we slow you down, let's just turn the transient off for now. It does become very washed out sounding, which is cool for pads and things like that. But if we have phase lock on, it does become a little more crispy. It's like aligning the phases of all these partials, I think. Have you seen new Igor music video? No, not yet, but I obviously know of them. Glow Shrimp Software. Harmless. Good job. He found the company that made the Serum FM Wavetable Studio. Paper Skies just released Idols 2. You should check it out. Oh, damn. I'm gonna do that. Also, hi, Sharks. Neat. So we can slow it down. We can also change the scan speed here up to 8+ and -800. There's more fun stuff. Let me have a look real quick. If we can also, I'm going to set you back to 200 for now. We can also right click in here and do snap, fade edges, normalize, reverse, trim. Trim happens if we do something like this. And if I now go and say trim, then now we have it shortened. Also important to know is, you know how you can filter the partials over here with this slider? Oh, there's also post, warp, and smooth. I didn't even know about those. I just right-clicked there for the first time. Nice. This has an influence on certain spectral effects, like where you place these filter cutoffs. If we use something like spread, you might notice how there's like these chunks here, right? How it's like steppy. And I think that depends on how it analyzes what's happening inside the original sample in terms of like which partial is the loudest, like where's the main pitch. So that is going to start moving around if I move this filter. You see how that changes? So that has an effect on, not as much from the top, but it does kind of change how the spread or the detune effect, for example, are working. These are right now we haven't made any cool sounds yet. I know we should get to that in a bit. Also, the filter in here is pretty neat. Let me just for fun, let's just get a note, like a bass note. It's like a sustained little prp. I mean, grab a bass shot, and then here, I think under 808. I think this one's pretty loud. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yep. Nice. That is loud noise. And I showed this in my first Serum 2 video. There's this little spectral filter here where you can draw yourself a little filter shape, which is nice. So we could do something like this. And then move it across the spectrum. Sounds a little bit like Harmer. And you can mix this in and out, of course, as well. But you might have just seen this when I right-clicked here. Curve filter. Let me, can I turn this? Oh yeah, that's not an on and off. But these are wavetables. So you have your whole list of wavetables down here. And if I go and, for example, get the dinosaurs wavetable, now the cutoff moves through the wavetable. What the hell? Like, what? Damn, we've got filter table in here, kind of. So I think that's pretty neat. We can try out all kinds of different ones here. Dangerous Saw. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, try that out. There is generative wave. Depending on how crazy the wavetable is, though. The crazier the filter, of course. Oh, nice. Harmonic series. Hehe. I went through the factory presets, pressed one note on the lowest quality, and boom, CPU is cracking. On most presets, 16 gigs octa-core, shouldn't have any idea why that is. I know it has been on some presets, it has been a little CPU intense for me too. I feel like that might be a thing that could be improved in the next update. In Steve Duda's talk on the Mr. Bill podcast, he was talking to Bill about how probably with like Serum 2.1 update, they're gonna add, first of all, like skins back like in Serum 1, maybe something where you can have different skins for different expansion packs or something. Also some interface improvements maybe, and then performance improvements. I can see that could probably be a thing. That'd be nice. Don't quote me on this, but yeah, certain things, especially if we use a granular oscillator or something. And then we put in a note. Yeah. And then I'm gonna put the scan to 0. There's also other right-click stuff here again, range setting for the scan. And then let's randomize all this stuff a little bit. Yo, Amnexia, thank you so much. That's really sweet. Nice. Okay, so density. I'm gonna turn up the grain density. And now if I play 4 notes, my CPU is also already at 17%. This is a maxed out M3 Pro, MacBook Pro. Oil up? What does that mean? I'll get to use my hentai Serum preset, thank you God. I'm gonna be putting this stream up on my channel. It'll be in the live tab, like afterwards, so don't worry. Yeah, and I guess if we add Unison, then now we are at 90% CPU. That does sound kind of nice though. But yeah, that can quickly explode. So I would just always make sure in granular mode, be careful with your grains and your unison. I would like to compare actually how that does with, for example, Faceplant, because we can do something similar in Faceplant. We could have density in Faceplant at 15 and then unison at 5, and then play 4 notes. I'm gonna try the same thing there. This is 60%. Let's grab Faceplant and just try and duplicate that. It's not going to be, like, obviously a perfect comparison, but I am curious, and maybe you are too. So, new, let's grab that same sample, get you into a granular. I'm going to do over here, grains, we had like about 15. Let me just randomize some stuff so it doesn't sound like ass. Oh, sorry, clip. And then global unison times 5. That's 20% over here. Well, if the grains are a little shorter, doesn't really matter. You should force Chime to start using Ableton. Also, Ross Goodman and Crunchy, thank you so much. You guys, you don't need to... That's very sweet of you. I'm not gonna tell you not to donate, but it's very nice. Also, when I press the sustain pedal and play a note on there twice, it won't stop playing. Doesn't happen in any other synth. I will have a look at that. But yeah, don't worry. I'm pretty sure, like, we did a lot of beta testing and caught a lot of bugs, and now that it's out in the open and so many people are using Serum 2, then there's the chances high that you're gonna find some bugs we didn't find. And there's, of course, going to be updates that will fix stuff. So I think Steve is very like reactive to emails on bug reports and stuff. So if you just send that to him or let him know in some way, if he doesn't know already, that will 100% help. Because yeah, it's not like some... I don't know how other companies work, but I sometimes feel like with other bigger companies like Native Instruments or Ableton, it's a bit of a shout into the void unless you know someone directly who works at the company to like get something fixed. It feels more like a shout into the void where you're like, oh, I sent a support ticket, but is anyone going to read that? And yeah, Steve is also very active on Reddit, so... What do you think of the pros of Serum 2 compared, for example, Faceplant? Personally, I think Serum 2 filters are still leading the game. I do like all the filters. I've always missed a good comp filter with ringing resonance in Faceplant. I know you can do multiple comps, or you could do the resonator in Faceplant, but just the way it feels here is neat. I think also it's just the workflow and other things for me, where Serum for me is I go here if I have a sound in my head and I kind of know how to get there, and Serum gets me there the fastest, where Faceplant is my playground for, oh, I have this idea, what if 20 oscillators are gonna FM each other in a weird setting. That sounded kind of kinky. Another Virtual in Serum 2 stream, how original. Nice. Which wavetables of yours did Steve do to add? The dying saw? Yeah, the dying ones, the dinosaurs, the partial combos, AM sine harmonics, Bitspeak 2 separate, There's a bunch more. FM, careful triangle, fish flips and morphs into swordfish, sine hell, generative waves, the shepherds, octaves and fifths. There's a few here and there. Already oomph. Oomph is nice. $20? Are you insane, Mackie? I just wanted to say I'm happy for you, brother. It's awesome seeing your name on a Last Skrillex album on top of all the other cool stuff you've been doing lately. Oh, dude, thank you so much. That's very sweet. When you add like effects like 5 compressors and Serum delay compensation works. Inside Serum, yeah. I mean, your DAW's delay compensation. I mean, I feel like for the plugin it shouldn't matter. I think for the plugin itself, it's fine. Ableton obviously has the thing that if you add an effect that has a lot of latency, and then you add an Ableton stock thing that is where the rhythm is important, like autopan, then that autopan is going to be off, because Ableton internally for its own plugins doesn't do latency compensation very well. Okay, before can you tell my mate Mousetrap to cheer up? Is your mate Mousetrap the label Mousetrap? I am gonna make let's make a cool sound first. Let's make like, I've been making some fun tear out stabs, which have been cool, but we can make all kinds of nifty things. But let's start with the tear out stab because they're fun. So let's get like a triangle here, and let's use the Spectral oscillator to make some evil stab thing. I'm gonna grab a resonant percussion thing. These are samples from Splice and stuff. And here under percussion resonant, we got some fun stuff like this. Yeah, why not? Alright, so... Oops, sorry. The Spectral oscillator always gets very loud. Grüße aus Bayern. Grüezi. Grüße zurück. Okay, this is, I think Odd Prophet has, if you've seen Odd Prophet's videos, he's also kind of done this type of tear out gun processing, but this is pretty nice and works very well. So this uses one of my new favorite things in Serum 2 as well, in the distortion, the overdrive, where we can stack up to 16 overdrives. I'm gonna turn this down just in case, and I'm gonna stack up to 4. Nice crunch. He spoke German and it immediately caused the stream to lag. Nice. So we've got our sub with some overtones because it's a triangle. It can also just be a sine. The distortion adds enough overtones. And we've got our top layer. And I kind of like to add a second envelope to have our top layer be a little shorter and kind of like that. And now we can mess around a little bit with what's going on here. We could sped up the scan speed, cut off some low end. We could add detune and or spread. Let's make you a little longer. Also, the volume level of both this top layer and the sub are very important. It's like determines how much of this is going to come through, because I feel like this distortion here on the overdrive mode kind of works in a way where whatever is loudest gets priority to come through, and then as soon as that goes under a certain level, like this one shot here obviously starts loud right at the start and then becomes quieter, and as soon as it becomes quieter and it goes below the volume of the sub, then that is going to just crunch everything else up in the distortion. Ooh, now we've got the transient in there too. Nice, not bad. Let's also have a little volume envelope here. Cool, little intense on the attack. Can bring that back down, add some white noise, color white, filter up, stereo up. Maybe give you an envelope too. Make you bipolar. Yup, me and my evil kitchen hitting my evil pots. Metal pipe sound. Ooh, let's add some reverb. The convolution reverb is nice because you can very precisely adjust how long and if it should fade in a little bit and bright and the gain of it and maybe some pre-delay. So we got a little echo tail there. That's nice. Maybe compress you a little bit. I feel like too much and it kind of loses its stabbiness if it becomes just a little too chunky. Have you heard of Zeph Parisoto's plugin Flutter? Yes. That's cool. It's kind of like a sidechain ring mod volume, like amplitude modulation type thing, right? It's pretty neat. I've been using ring mod, sidechain ring mod for a similar purpose. VR, the lead on While You Were Sleeping is insane. Thanks for that. Love it. Oh, thank you. Yep, the sine wavetable is for the sub. Could also be a triangle, but sine just sounds the nicest right now. Let's add another envelope here to go to master tune, master tuning, master pitch to give us some. This almost has more influence on the. Like, I'm almost inclined because the spectral oscillator gets affected so intensely by this. It's kind of cool to just put this on oscillator A's coarse pitch. So that doesn't get too affected by that. We still got our little, like, kick type attack. And then we can go crazier. We could use the spread. What if we make you even faster? And now we're just left with the. That's kind of fun. We could even add another convolver and import something like this. And then mess with its pitch. That's pretty neat. And did you know Serum can automate the size of this? Like, you hear how if I get something tonal in here, yeah, like something like that, we get that nice ringing tail. First of all, we can shorten that over here, but we can modulate that too. We can put an envelope on this. That's mental. I have not seen a convolution plugin that can do this. Show me one if you found one. Except for M Cabinet by Melda. That one doesn't count. Thank you, Subwoofer. Love you, dude. Yeah, you keep many of us inspired. That's so sweet. Thank you. Oh, hi, Nebula. How are you? What caused you to switch from Cubase to Ableton? The amount of effects. Mic keeps cutting out. Size is pitch when it comes to convolution, yes. You might think decay, like, because it's a reverb, technically. Like, in most cases you use it as a reverb, so the decay kind of feels like the size, right? If a reverb is bigger, it would be longer, but in this case here, it's the size is the pitch of the sample. And yes, it gets longer if the pitch goes down. Thanks for tutorials and tips you give us. We really appreciate the time you take for these. Oh, you take to create these. Thank you, Ginger Panda. You guys are making me all get all red here. This is very sweet. Wann deutscher Stream? Ja, mache ich auf jeden Fall mal. I wanted to make a video that's like one production video that's just German, just for fun. And try to use words that English people might still understand, so they might know what's going on. Or I'll just put subtitles on it, but it would be fun. Doesn't hybrid reverb do automation though? Yes, but the size? Can you automate the size on the hybrid reverb? Show me. Like of the convolution part? I wish it could. It would be really cool to also have that key track or something. Here you can make it key track. Do you still plan to use Funky Step 155 in a track? Yes, I like it. I know. I need to get that's on the back burner. Ehrenmann. Refresh the stream and it works. Okay, so the mic is fine. So yeah, automating or modulating the size of a convolution reverb, I have not seen that possible anywhere. but here it works. Maybe if we give it, let's just try using the really snappy envelope. It sounds a little different every time, because I guess it's like, it's definitely a wild thing to modulate this. So it's not going to be super phase accurate. But that's actually also kind of cool that we can do that. You could also now, because obviously you're like stuck with a pitch here, you could try and key track this and make it be like accurate. That's going to be a lot of work. Or we could link the velocity to this so that your velocity now determines the pitch of that, and now let's make it shorter. Mix it in. So you have some control over that. That'd be kind of neat. Fun options to be in control of your detuned ringy tails from a convolution reverb. I'm just going to leave this in here for now. You could alternatively also modulate these here, sort of for that metallic ringing we're getting from the Spectral oscillator with the velocity. And we can obviously put envelopes on this as well. That sounds like some kind of bird. But it gets very messy. The nice thing is, once we've loaded a sample in here from a folder, we can just go left, right up here, and it goes to the next sample in that same folder that we could use. That seems to be a very short sample. That's kind of nice. Reverb's a bit much. And I've also come up and made some racks to work with these type of tarot guns. This is called one gun rack, and it just tightens up the sound and adds some drive in post. Ooh. That one's pretty low. Also very mono. I wonder if stereo, like unison, could help here a little bit. Bit much. Maybe bring the width down to about 50. That's not bad. Get up. Cool. Kind of needs a little more brightness. Sweet. I will work on some Serum 2 preset packs. Like I've collected a bunch of things I've already made. I've made a bunch of tarot guns. I made a bunch of other things. I've made some pretty ones, and I'll collect them all. And once I have a good collection together and they're like nicely packaged and the macros are all assigned, I'll put out a preset pack. But I want it to be good. Yeah, true. Some of the Deathwish Boy says, I feel like I don't want my tarot guns to be too tight, though. I mean, most of the sound comes from the outringing sub and reverb tail and all that. That's true. You do kind of want some of that tail. I just often notice that, at least for me, it becomes, in the context of the track, especially if you've got like a snare with some splashy tail and your cymbals, your crashes and all of that, it can get a little messy, and sometimes I like to just tighten it up a bit. Try some other ones. Yep, nope, that one's a bit whack. Good old Sophie. Ah, that one's nice. And we is this the same sample? Yes, the same sample in here. That one's cool. Yeah, the drive is nice. Maybe a little bit of tightening. Can you turn your mic up? Is the mic a little too quiet? We've got to make small room tear out. It's possible to make FMA, but much more difficult. We are teaching the hidden shit. Let's try this with phase lock. Transient off. Can also be nice if the transient's too hard. But yeah, the detune and the spread are kind of nice to just tune the resonance somewhere where you want it to be. And then this filter here on the side, again, is going to have some influence on the spread and the detune. As you can see, stuff here is kind of glitching around. That's kind of neat. I like that. So I've made a lot of patches like this and been working on a bunch of those for fun. Oh yeah, some of these work in a pattern where if you write a little pattern, then the LFO is just gonna change the sound over time a little bit. And I've also made some beautiful ones. Let me have a look real quick. So here we've got a lot of randomization, note on random discrete, happening to detune. And also, this kind of gets introduced, I think, on the volume or a filter over time. Like, on the tail end of the note, they kind of start to flutter in a weird way. And there's some kind of random detune happening on each note that you can control over here. If this is on 0, and this is up, there's like a certain chance for each note to be detuned in a different way. Fun stuff. Some of these don't work as well because I made them in an older version. Yeah, again, with the granular oscillator being intense on the CPU. This one's kind of cute because this is, I would need my keyboard for this in a bit. I can play this very softly and very intensely. And then if you play it really soft. Only this little sine wave left. I realized I have this gun rack on here the entire time. My chat just froze. Is my internet okay? Ooh. Slight, maybe my bit depth is a little too high. Let me refresh my chat on my phone real quick. Da, 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 da. YouTube froze for a sec. Are we still good? I think we're just good. Jesus Christ. Mic is really low. Please raise it. My ears hurt. Everybody who says it's good, try lowering the volume and you'll hear how different it is. Is it really that bad? I'm sorry if Serum is too loud. Diese Serum-Presets sind nun Eigentum der Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Do you think taking piano lessons will help making music more like... openly because you know how to play the keys and can make melodies easier? I think learning any instrument, guitar, drums, piano, will definitely help you if you want to make music. Like, yeah, anything you learn that way will just help you, inspire you in some way. I think that's always a good idea. Make a machine gun bass, dude. I just made one, and I then loaded up a ton more. Here's a fun thing with Ableton's internal arpeggiator. So I like that with Serum 2's internal arpeggiator. I said Ableton because it is pretty much Ableton's arpeggiator built in here. I like that. So once you've set something up like this, I'll just turn it on. Each of these notes obviously count as a newly triggered note. So if we use modulation sources like the note on random, that now triggers on each of these notes. So like, for example, the decay time here. I'm gonna put, wait, actually, let's get the same one. Let's have note on random 1, and then another note on random 1, like the same one over here on the release. If we have these two here, and we can nicely see in the blue here where, like how far this modulation is going to reach. So minimum is going to be 100 milliseconds, maximum is going to be 1 second. Nice, now that's going to be randomized on each note. And maybe let's do a similar thing with the cutoff, where we have this envelope playing, like making the filter plug, but we have note on randomness over here, and then maybe the octave too. Let's add note on random discrete on the octave, and have you give you a certain chance to be an octave up. Add some delay, add some reverb. Oh, hi, Busty. Marius asked, hey, just a tiny request. Could you please, could you press menu and load a preset? You don't have to load a preset or anything. Just want to see if the button works. Yeah. It does. And then I got the auto preview on, autoplay previews. Otherwise, you can click here. That's a default preview if there is no factory, if there's no preview that's been saved. That sounds more like a custom preview. All these combined features together with init sound. Oh, and now, haha. Where's the sound I just made? I can go undo, 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 undo. There it is again. Ah, bless the undo button. Glück auf. Let's also add a little bit of detune. Not unison detune, but actually just have each note be randomly out of tune ever so slightly. So I'm gonna need you, yep, bipolar, and just like plus minus 10 cents. Maybe a little more. Oh, and here's a cool one. I like the note on alt for alternating. So this is gonna give out 0, 100, 0, 100, like back and forth for consecutive notes. And if we put this on the pan, do Serum 1 patches work in Serum 2? Yes, they even show up here. But now we got the left, right, left, right, left, right going on, and it's super hard panned, but we could add a note on random as the auxiliary modulation source. So now how strong it's gonna go left and right each time is also gonna be random. You can look at this, or well, we can look at this little fish here. It's still going left, right, left, right, left, right. Like it's still alternating between the sides, but each time it's a little random how strong it's gonna lean to that side. And we can also, we could even control how intense that is, right? Yeah. So if we use this aux curve over here, now the chance is lower that it's gonna extremely pan left and right, and higher that it's gonna stay within this range here. If we do something like this, now there's a 50% chance it's not gonna pan a note, and a 50% chance that it is gonna pan a note. So now we just sometimes have certain notes breaking out left and right. Everybody's here. Damn. Did you recommend a MacBook Air for music production? I've never done that, but I would also not recommend it. I guess it depends on what you're doing. Like, yeah. I only ever switched to Mac because all people around me were on Mac, and the AUs and compatibility between projects were a thing. So I kind of had to. Oh, hi, Mirth. Can you go in depth about ring mod sidechain? Yes, I can also show that in a bit, maybe. What kind of specs are you rocking? I am rocking a maxed out MacBook Pro M3 Max, like the that one. I heard they're gonna skip M5 for MacBook Pros and go straight to M6 or something, or maybe that is a ARP, not interesting. Oh, sorry, I like ARPs. And we could go even crazier, of course. And nice, the sine wave is right next to the saw wave. So let's add another note on random to the wavetable position. Oh, and here's my favorite. We can, I think this wasn't that possible in Serum 1, or I've always struggled with it. We can modulate the portamento down here. And put you on always. So that works with the arpeggiator, but let's modulate that randomly as well. Note on random discrete for this, and now for this one, I really need this curve over here because, first of all, I want your maximum to maybe be 20, right? Because like 20, if this is at 20, oh no, this is in milliseconds. Do we get this in milliseconds? No, we just get this in percent. Yeah, that's kind of neat, but I maybe even want to have a 50% chance of no glide, and then I'm gonna just leave that linear. Let's bring it to 100 just to see what happens. That is so cool. I like that a lot. Maybe just a slightly lower chance for the glide to happen. And I could still have some... I would be okay if notes were sometimes a little longer. Let's increase that decay and release time to a second and a half. Okay, when it does the left-right panning randomly, I want it to not be always on 100. Nice, that looks cool how this is like bouncing around there. Haha, I could just, yeah, I could sit in this for hours. Let's add a little bit of drive before reverb and delay. Soft clipping. And then maybe some kind of master, like, filter to... so you're kind of able to soften it if you want to. Or this could just... if we feel like it, if we wanted to make this a fully automated patch, this could be like a slow 2-bar up and down kind of thing. Oh, before all the effects though. Nice. Can you make one oscillator of this ARP preset into a bass? I think so. I just don't know if I can, like, if we can split this. There's oscillator mapping here, of course, where we could say, hey, oscillator B, just be the bass, and only be played by the lower notes, and then oscillator A, which is all we're currently using, is being played by the higher notes, but I wouldn't want the arpeggiator to affect oscillator B. That's a good question. Is that a thing? We got playback here, we got latch, we got through, we got retrigger. If anyone knows, Music loading. Theoretical, if you turn the release up on this like crazy and then arpeggiate the actual meaning going into this pretty crazy series of arps. Could you sometime get back to me on the crazy Cooling Patches triple line project and show us the sound design? Yeah, we can do all that. Distortion at random, have a higher crunch rate from random. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm definitely gonna keep this video up. Oh, also because this is already kind of a twinkly, nice and twinkly sound. Let's add another distortion before the distortion and distort more. No, I use a down sample. And let's randomize that per note. Getting very computery. I don't want this to be so extreme. That's kind of enough, but I don't want this to happen all the time too. So I'm gonna modulate the mix with another random. So many randoms. And then we're gonna control the chance of that bit crush, that downsample EVAT. Might still be almost a little too much. I want it to be rare. I want it to be like, I want it to be a special little treat, only happening sometimes. Another one. I want to add another layer. I want this to have vibrato, but also only sometimes. So let's, first of all, let's just get the vibrato going. Yep, kind of like that. And then all we need to do is auxiliary modulation here. Note on, random, discrete, and create this chance again. And let's make this 12.5%. So quick. Arp. Little treat. I've made some other really pretty ARP stuff too. Similar randomness stuff going on here. It's called Aperture Science, because, yep, that sounds kind of like... That's nice. This one is a little more interesting. So I've also played around with... Let's see, dividing time does it a little bit better. So here we have a regular old saw pluck, but this filter over here. And this is what's plucking the filter, and then this is what's selecting the speed of this filter pluck, and then a couple of other things are also being randomly modulated. The fun thing is, though, this is happening in, like, again, for each note that you're holding in a different manner. So while I'm holding this one note, it's doing that one pattern. If I hold multiple notes, they all get different. So it's kind of a mixture of a pad and an arpeggiator or a sequenced patch. It's kind of like a cool middle thing between the two. And if you wanted it to sound like it's playing backwards... Oh, I just realized there's a forward thing here. I'm going to just reverse this. Oh, hi, White Raven. That's kind of cool. We can also do ping pong. Oh, that's actually pretty sick. I did not know about this down here up until right now when I was just like, oh, we can reverse this. I was just gonna move this over, but then I saw that little menu down there. Ping pong, that's kind of neat. They make this a little more exponential. Yeah, it makes kind of a cool groove. right now I don't have a MIDI keyboard connected right now, so I'm holding down the keys on my laptop. I want to make a bigger, more beautiful chord. Let's just hope laptop doesn't die. No, hold you for longer, please. And then just adjust some things here, make sure we got enough voices. You can go back to 18. That's cool, and then let's make another one. So you can probably have that one. I think one of these is also randomizing the cutoff here, maybe minimize that a bit. And then the plug a little less than 10s. I'm just curious, I'm just gonna try out some things. What if we had a master distortion here? I'm gonna try this. Bit hard on the crunch. This is just an attempt over here, but a little bit of drive is nice. Might have been a bit much. There's a note in here. That I didn't like. What did White Raven say? We need a Reese. I just made a Reese video. This reminds me of the art from Missing You, Missing Me. Oh, nice. Please share your secret how you come up with the longer video. And I would like to do that one day. And with one day, I actually don't mean one far day in the future. I'm trying to figure out how to like approach that best. Because I started playing piano so long ago that it feels very natural to me, and it's sometimes hard to explain. What definitely helps is if you don't play an instrument, or just a little bit, using something like Ableton Scaler or something just to help you at the start a little bit. That can totally help. But basically, one of the main rules, I'm gonna just try and bring out one or two pieces of knowledge that I can share that are very basic but will go a long way. So if you're in any key, let's say you're in A minor, because A minor is only the white keys, so that's just easy to follow. Obviously, you can use your scale tools up here, or whatever the DAW you're using has. And if you make a chord progression, and we're in A minor, this is our home chord, right? A minor. And then you've got some classic progressions that just kind of work. Like many Skrillex songs and many pop songs do something like going up from doing something like that, and then maybe one last chord after this. Maybe something happy like C major, or something sad, like E minor. And in my brain, I always give these chords certain numbers. So if we're in A minor, because A minor is the same as C major, all the white keys, I call the A minor root chord, or home, in A minor 6, because it's on the 6th step above C. C is 1, so I treat A minor and C major kind of almost as the same thing. So C is 1, D minor would be 2, E minor would be 3, F major is 4, G major is 5, A minor is 6. Oh, there we go. So a chord progression like this, chord progression like this would be 4, 5, 6, and then I added a 3 at the end. But these voicings of these chords sound kind of boring. It's very pew, pew, pew. It's kind of plain, and what I can recommend is, instead of having all the notes clustered closely together, is spreading them out, and usually taking the middle note, like the third inside of a chord, taking that one out and moving it up an octave, immediately sounds a lot nicer and a lot sweeter. And then within a chord, within like a chord of, for when talking about chords, I just mean chords with 3 notes, like your A minor. There are some alternative notes that are middle, the third can go to, like that's A minor, but then what is, like, that is A major, but what is, that is neither minor nor major. So that's a sustained chord, a sustained 2 or a sustained 4, because it's kind of like, it wants to go somewhere. It's not really resolved. Like, you either need to hear this, and now you're like, cool, we're home, or that works too. Same the other way around. Cool, we've arrived somewhere. Other way, like into major also works. Suspended Bacca. So these notes work with, like, you can go into major or you can go into minor afterwards, as I've just shown. So you can just add these to a major or a minor chord to make it a little more interesting. So back to our A minor. This is completely changed from Serum power user features to music theory now. I'm very sorry. So back to A minor. We can spice this chord up a little bit by adding in a sus 2 or 4. It's called 2 and 4 because the middle one here for minor is our third. So obviously if it's a 2, if it's a second, it's under it. If it's a fourth, it's above it. So with a sus 2 added, that's kind of neat. Makes it a little more, I don't know, pensive. 4, also really nice. And now going back to our wide voicing, moving this third up an octave. Let's add the sus 2 in again. That's cool. What if we bring that one up an octave? That's really neat. The sus 4 up there or down there. And now that's pretty neat. The sus 4 in the original position, the third is an octave up. That's pretty nice. I like that. Maybe I would want to, and now I want to do A minor, G major, but the G major after this now kind of has to like copy sort of what this one's doing. So I want the third up again. That's pretty neat. And for some reason it feels to me like I want to keep this note here. Followed by, because the more notes are similar between chord changes, the more notes are staying in the same place, the more natural and smooth the chord progression feels to us. So in this case, this note up here, this E, is something new that we haven't talked about yet. Because to begin with, this chord was only G major, and we've moved the third up an octave again for the wide voicing. So that sounds nice. My favorite voicing. And here again we can add a sus 4. That's very pretty. Doesn't work an octave up that well, or a sus2. Very nice chord. Almost, you could almost call this a cluster chord because there's so many notes close together. But what I've added from this chord, our fifth, the E, the top note of our minor chord here, if we added that in here, that's a sixth, because that's above, and that sounds really nice. Because usually major is kind of happy, but with the sixth, now it's kind of melancholic, and that works really well. So I'm just keep that from this previous chord and leave you up here. And now let's go to F major. So again, let's get our third up there. And I think we can just leave that here, playing here as well. Beautiful. What have we done here? This is one note below the F. So this is a seventh. So we've made a major seventh chord, which by itself already sounds beautiful. But pitched up an octave for the third. Ah, shivers. And I want to add one more. I know, even though this oh yeah, we do kind of need one more for a fourth chord progression. We could maybe go down one more, but we could do A minor. That's not bad. Sounds okay. Sounds natural. Let's look at all of them together. But here we have this seventh. And you might be inclined to keep this E again, like, because we've kept it in all of these chords. And it does sound nice, but I kind of feel like we should do that for the E minor as well. Like, let's turn it into an original E minor chord with the seventh. Pitch the third up again. So in this case, there are no notes staying the same, but it feels okay to me. But I want to go super hard on this last chord because this is one of my favorites. So we are in A minor, right? Oops. Which is the same scale as C major. And C major is really happy, A minor is not very happy. And if we go down this chord change from that we did here, from A minor, G major, F major, and then we arrive at A minor, that's very sad. But if this note here moved up one to the C, that's kind of happy, because this is just the C major chord with the bottom note of the C major chord pitched up one octave. Ah, suddenly it's happy again. So what if we did that here and changed this guy, right, sad, U to a C. Kind of happy, right? If that guy was here, that's happy. So the C is not the bottom note of our C major chord, but I'm keeping the seventh. Oh, creamy. Let's make this a little prettier by also not just playing them in a row like this, but maybe down, 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 down. Yeah, for every scale, for every minor scale, there's a major scale with the same notes. And the major scale is always going to be 3 semitones above that minor scale. So A minor, right, starts here. C major starts I'm going to go from the A. 1, 2, 3. 3 up. All of these are still part of A minor. So same notes, and you could argue with someone to death if a song is in major or minor, because one person can say this song is in F minor, and the other person can say no, it's in G sharp major. And it's almost a personal opinion. Obviously, how it's notated on sheet music will definitely decide what was the intention. But some songs might be written in a minor scale but just feel very major because they just used those chords a lot more. I missed a call from Afrojack? What? Yeah, there's no real right answer. I might have. Someone said, you missed a call from Afrojack. I'm like, what? That can happen. Germans be like, it's an H minor. Yes. Okay, let me just slow this down a bit to like 120. And let's add some strumming. Arpeggiate, strum. Let's do this. Very pretty. Slower. Nice. So much for cool chord voicings. So that's sort of where that came from. Just with even more added notes. So like an overkill chord like that, where I'm just spanning the whole range of the keyboard, would be something like, if I want to make A minor, let's get a low A going, and then maybe the minor third again, the sus4, the 7th, the sus2, another minor third, and another 7th up top. I'm just stacking these. So some of these are duplicates, like this guy is down here as well, and then this guy is down here as well. I'm just stacking these to make it really big and cover a lot of ground. Technically, that A could be even an octave lower. We could do an octave double there. Or have this be a 5th instead. And then often I just, for the next chord, I'll just, once I have my beautiful stack, I will copy that over for the next chord. Let's say this time I want to go up to the C major chord. Because then I'll just go, okay, these are my roots. Bring you up to C. Sometimes all these optional tones already fit really nicely. So we went from to... It sounds good, but boring if everything stays the same, right? So maybe... because the bass goes down, maybe I want to go... because the bass notes go up, maybe I want to go up to, or maybe not. You can stay. Some stay the same, some change. So that's where I just start to like mess around. Sometimes I'll remove 1, 2, not all of them have to stay. Actually, that's kind of nice. Maybe that one can go. And then for the next one, copy that again. Now I want to go for G major. Sorry for having you listen to all these sustained notes. Actually, that one is cool, but it's a little much. Maybe. That's better. Cute future bass song. Let's use those chords for this weird synth from earlier. Why not? If I hit legato, is it just gonna... Yay! Nice. It's just gonna fill it up. Ooh, is my CPU having a hard time? That's okay. That works better than anticipated. Okay, now for something that I have here because of a video that I'm working on. Let's get the camera big. Sorry for the jump scare. Bonk. Ow, I'm very sorry. That was a bit much. Pan. We're making pan snares. No, we can also make some pan snares. Let me just set this up real quick. So I only have this one mic, but I think I can record in Ableton with it at the same time as streaming. That should be possible. Let's delete this one. So, literally pots and pans. So let me record I'm gonna try and get this medium loud. Sorry. Oh, that clipped. Okay, I'm gonna get closer but quieter. I think that was perfect. Nice. I hope you can still hear me. Trying to cook the snare medium rare. Let's get that little ploink. Command J. And let's put you on a MIDI track. And now now I should be able to play you. I think it's about this pitch. Sweet. So I'm gonna make a video in the future about some thing I have going where I'm making all these different instrument racks multi-sampled of all kinds of stuff around my house, like salad bowl, steel pans, cereal bowl, drinking glass, frying pan, acoustic guitar too, and where I'm sampling them in a lot of detail. So getting lots of variations on velocity. I think here I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different velocity layers just for this glass. And then lots of round robins too, so if you play the same note over and over again, it still sounds like nice and organic. Because it's triggering a new sample every time. And because it's so many samples, we could even stereo double it, have just 2 instances of this, one on the left and one on the right, and they're just both playing different samples. And obviously, if I just have one sample, like here, if I play it over and over, it just sounds the same every time. That's a little annoying versus... So I'm working on a lot of instruments like these and maybe get them all into Contact or something, or Decent Sampler. Maybe I'll hit up Venus Theory about this, turning this into like an easily accessible thing. Yeah, no, all these samples aren't played at the same time. The ones that are overlapping here, so up here you can see this is the velocity I'm currently playing. Which samples, these are all different samples here, and we can see the waveform down there. It checks which of these fall in this category of that velocity, and then it picks a random one, and it goes through them over here, in this case forward. And there's a duplicate over here where it goes backwards. This is the same exact setup, so if I play a note at like this velocity up here, one of the samplers is going to play this sample while the other sampler plays that sample, and then they're panned left and right. And the low boost here is just this filter that just accentuates the lowest fundamental. Okay, so far, Serum 2 can do the layers. Serum 2 can definitely do the velocity layers. I don't know about round robin. You could kind of do a thing where you use all 3 oscillators and have a different set of samples in each oscillator and have random, like the note on random pick a random one every time. That could work. There are some other workarounds how to do that, but I will look into that because I'm also very curious about that. Maybe you could use Soundbox for that, make a custom instrument with your samples. Yeah, I'm looking around for the best way to realize this into like a cohesive plugin thing where no one needs to buy any additional software to run this stuff. And because it's nice in Ableton Sampler and making an instrument rack, but then it's Ableton only, and I don't want it to be Ableton only. Back to the one single sample though, because there's some other fun stuff here. First of all, I'm gonna increase the voices and turn off the retrigger. So back in the day, when Rompler keyboards, like old keyboards where you could select trumpets and guitar and strings and flute, when memory for those was expensive, they wouldn't have very long samples for all those things, like a piano or something. If you play a piano note really hard, it takes a long time to ring out. And every sample being 20 seconds long, that was a big file that was hard to store. So they would have these loop points in a sample, and they would just loop the release tail while you were holding the note, and then if you let go of the note, it would just play the ending of the sample. So we can kind of fake that here by adding a little loop. And obviously you can kind of hear the loop. Even if I make the fade very long, it's still kind of, you can kind of hear that there's something looping. But I kind of like that sound, especially because it's playing the sample back faster if I play higher notes, and the loop becomes very, very fast, and it's playing it back slower at lower notes. So I kind of want the loop to be a little audible. I'll put it like over here, and then let's turn on the release, turn that up pretty high, and if we now play some notes, I think that's really cool because you get this rhythmical texture suddenly where low notes kind of all have different rhythms, and the high notes kind of get this interesting sparkle on top. I think that's pretty neat. We could even add some random pan here. I think that's pretty neat. So fun ways to use this loop thing. Maybe I'm gonna just try what if it was a bit longer. Oh, we panned the pan. Yep, you're right. I want to try one more thing real quick, and I don't know if this is going to work perfectly, but I want to randomly modulate the loop length like really fast to see if we can get some kind of granular effect out of it. And I need you to be real chaotic here. Length. Yeah, that works. That's kind of neat. I didn't expect that to work so nicely. What if the loop was really short? Kinda. Ooh. Ah! It's a little too much. It gets a little too intense, but ooh. Turn the snap off. Wow. That's kind of cool. Maybe a little longer. Right? It's like some weird glasses. Definitely sounds granular again. Kind of. I should have added this to my latest granular video. Let's add a delay and reverb. Can you make the 3-year snare? How does the snare take 3 years? Please, I need answers. It was 2 years. We can do that. I wanted to make a video about that. I'll make the 2-year snare. Oh, Evan. Hi, Evan. I love your plugins. Oh, damn. Oh, hi, Bungie. Damn. Haven't seen you in a while. Could you time the loop such as the root note is a division of time an octave so that so an octave doubles the loop time? That just automatically will happen if I'm not modulating the loop time here. Then let's get a loop going where we can definitely hear how fast it is. Let's actually just have the whole thing like, right? That's looping in a certain rhythm. The octave will by default be twice as fast. So if I play an octave, clack, 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 and if I play a fifth, I get a polyrhythm. Same with a fourth. But yeah, I like that a lot. I would just always start the loop a little bit later, so, and get clicky. Now that I have explained this, I can finally... Yeah, this way is perfect. I just wanted to add this to our chords. Ah, damn it. Let's just record that real quick. We start here. I had that idea way too late here. Quantize. Yeah, something like that. That's cute. The random tune, or the random panning is a bit intense. Sorry, I haven't checked the chat in a while. No, wait, 2 years on a snare. I must sell my laptop. What's the second 2-year snare? It's in the Skrillex album. On the song Booster. Yeah, it sounds slightly not in key. I think that's a little bit better. But also, obviously, since we recorded this from a frying pan, anything that's like metallic and resonant will have some overtones that are out of tune, and that's what makes the sound kind of cool. But sometimes those are a little intense, so you could add a filter with a little bit of resonance and key tracking to boost the fundamental. We'll just have to find it. Ah, yep, there it is. And then the brightness again. Nice. He really likes using D sharp minor. Yeah, I do like D sharp minor. This is in A minor right now though. I have not. Please come back to Orlando. I know Orlando's sick. So D sharp minor has the lowest pitched sub that still sounds loud on most systems. I have heard songs in D minor. On good systems, it rattles your bones really nicely. There's a certain spot where if you go even lower and lower, at some point, that low fundamental frequency doesn't really do anything to you anymore. But I feel like different frequencies vibrate different bones in your body. Maybe there's like different resonant frequencies. But that's also gonna be different for each person individually. Also, if you're, let's say, if you're in D, what also matters, obviously, are like your harmonics and where they are sitting, like what that feels like. I've I think Biggie Bop on the new Skrillex album is in C sharp or even in C. It's so low. Like, try checking it out on your system, on whatever you have, and see if you can feel the low fundamental is really low. The bigger the festival, usually the safer the chance that they're going to be able to play back a really low sub. But if you're playing in even medium-sized to smaller venues, chances are D might be difficult already. D sharp, higher chance for sure. I've been making some tracks in D, like Stealing Fire and Need Get on the new album are in D minor. Triplet Land Project Breakdown, or is that for another live stream? Yeah, well, that's going to be for another live stream. I want to get back to the theme of this, which was Serum 2. And now that we've started, like, I've just got this little melodic loop here, I wanted to show you that the Spectral oscillator is also really nice for melodic stuff and pads and that kind of stuff. So I've got some, actually, let's look into Heavy Bass Design Volume 2, and I'm gonna just look into the synth loops. Lots of pads. Well, we've got some melodic loops in here too. This one could be kind of interesting. That other one too. Wait. Actually, let me grab that one. Let's see. Let's put that in here. So this loops a couple times. I don't need the whole loop. First, I'm just gonna trim this. It's a little smaller. And then we can sort of almost pulse stretch the sample in here with the spectral thing. So I'm just gonna have this be really low. Just for good measure, add reverb and delay already. Maybe even put the scan rate on 0. That's kind of cool. That's like a different... You could do this with the granular oscillator, but that's kind of neat. I wonder if any of this can be helpful here. Smear, maybe not so much. We can kind of change the overtones with detune. Oh damn! Namit, thank you. Love from India. Love back, dude. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. Creepy yet pretty. Yes. Kinda. Yeah, I know in Faceplan you can also change the start position, like you could modulate that to something, right? Instead of just having the scan, you just have a position knob. This doesn't switch into a position knob. We've got the phase lock and transients. Phase lock kinda in this pad case kinda makes it worse in my opinion, because I do like the blurriness of it with phase lock on. It becomes a little more phase lock off, a little softer. But we also have show marker animation, zoom to start and end, show waveform display. Nice. Oh, there's a little waveform display under here. Jesus Christ, Matsu. Hi VR, I'm a big fan from Brazil. Your participation on Skrillex's album is incredible. Stealing Fire made me make an entire album. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Much love from Brazil. You're my idol. Oh, dude, you're sweet. You guys are very nice to me. Thank you. I was just trying to see if there was an option to like move the position. What's XY control? Oh, there we go. There's the position. Suddenly... Suddenly there was a position knob here. You saw that, right? Where'd that come from? It's only when I click it. Huh. So... Y-axis? Oh, and the Y-axis can be something else. Level, the warp, the spectral filter. So if this is warp, just that warp. Damn, we've kind of turned this into Kima. Nice, we're discovering things together. I love it. Oh, okay. So I just realized when I click this, you see how one shot here turns into manual? So we could just go here and say manual. Now we've got a position knob. Yes! Ah, okay. Perfect. I didn't see that at first. I only saw the position knob appearing and I was like, how do I get that to always be there? Sweet. What happens if you play with the warp just below the FM and etc. knob? Oh, down here? This stuff? This is like I guess you kind of see how it moves some of the partials up one way. Then it moves other partials another way. Maybe if we go to a position where... In this case, this doesn't seem to have a lot of influence. But I have heard this change things. Not so much in detune, more in spread. Maybe that's for spread, maybe that's a fine. But it kind of moves everything up, and this moves like everything down and everything up together, whereas spread kind of spreads it apart. Smile 2 soundtrack vibes. Scary. It does sound quite trippy. Creepy. Wow. Yo, how are you doing? Dance Before 9. I'm doing good, thank you. Okay, but I was trying to make something pretty. So let's go back to this. I was just trying to make like a little background pad. Can we have a little bit of modulation on this so it just goes kind of like back and forth slightly? Nice. I think I want that chord. I don't need the spread. Now there's perfect. Interesting way to make a pad. So, it's just slightly out of tune. Ah, maybe a different sample. Yeah. It's very soft. Maybe cut off some of these. Don't really need the filter. It's pretty bright. Might be a move also to use this filter. That's kind of a cool sound. So I'm just getting lost in pads. That one is too static. I know these are already pads. Damn it. Let's go. Let's use that. So I'm just lost trying to find a nice spot. There we go. Finally found it. So that I don't lose this anymore. I'm just gonna hold down that note. And just freeze and flatten that. Remember that you can drag out a sound and then drag it in again to the same oscillator. Seemed like quantum intro back in the nearest from top left corner. Oh yeah, true. What does phase lock do and what does it mean? It does kind of, if you drag your samples into Serum and save a preset with it, will it work on other devices without the original sample? So with Serum 2, you can now make sure that it'll definitely work on other devices. So let's go back to a patch in here. Ta-da. If I import a sample in here, actually you can see this sort of happen. If I made a preset and just used stock stuff and I save it, then there's no extra buttons down here. But if I imported a sample from somewhere myself, like that, as anything, even as a wavetable or as a sample, now you have a little option down here, embed content in preset. So now that sample is going to be part of the preset, and whoever opens it is not going to have any trouble with missing samples. So that is neat. Am I too music brain or is your beanie a piano roll? Yes, it is. Thank you for taking your time and sharing this experience with us. Oh, dude, thank you so much. Jesus Christ, you guys. Hi, German engineer. Can you send a message for my son? His name is Ethan. He's 11 months since he's been born. Also, my hobby alias is V-Sire. I hope I didn't mispronounce that. Damn. Late congratulations on your son. That's awesome. Where are you from? Also, I think this chord stack here, something's intense on the CPU. Overall, also, this is clipping a bit. Benchmark with the cleanest way to colorize sounds. Has a little arrow about arrow with a box, just I think. Just reading the chat. Bro, sorry to explain what phase lock is and then switch to a different question, but explanation, the ADHD is real. Oh yeah, phase lock just, so it, in the spectral oscillator turns whatever sample you give it into a bunch of sine waves that then replay the original sample. That can start to sound fuzzy if you change the playback speed or play different pitches. Let's just get a bass one shot. Nice, something like this. So if I play this real slow, get a little fuzzy, phase lock is on. You can kind of hear it in the high frequencies, how it's more washed out. Let's try another one. Phase lock on. Versus kind of washy and sounds a little more like MP3 artifacts, similar sort of, and also there's transient. So the initial and like some other transients come through more. If both are on, it's like it's compare it to complex and Complex Pro in Ableton. So phase lock on is as if you have Complex Pro on in Ableton, sort of. Just think of it that way. Raise that kid on VR's music. Ah. Sweet. So that is phase lock. And I've now figured out that there's an XY control here, where you can have position and a warp mode or something on XY control. That's fun. Like spectral spread on the Y-axis or something. Oh, and you can modulate X, of course. Nice. And if this is on Y-axis, can we then also... We can modulate X and Y. Sweet. Cool. Actually, just for fun, path... The evil star. Modulate X, LFO1. Modulate Y, LFO1Y. Jesus. This is very fast. Sorry, I just had to try it. That's very intense, of course. That's a bit extreme. The evil star? Did you just say the evil star has 6 points? Jesus Christ. No. All stars are good stars, I think. Right? Yay, sound design. Whoa. It's just comical effects. That is kind of cool. Maybe if this was on gate instead. That's a little more interesting. Also warp. Can you be on like bipolar? Now we're kind of getting somewhere. I'm just playing around. But like the position thing is fun. I wonder if instead, remove all modulators, can Y be connected to filter? No, spectral filter cutoff, yes. So if we have as our spectral filter shape, if we take something crazy like dinosaurs, then the Y-axis should move that, right? Jesus! Yep, that's very loud. That does work. Cool, and now let's have Y be modulated again by LFO1's Y. And put you down and have you... Jesus Christ. Yep, much chaos. But had to try it. Slow this down. Let's process this a bit. I just wanted to see if, like, hey, can we get something out of this? Sometimes you just gotta go down the rabbit hole. Let's give you overdrive at least 2 times. Also, World Dealer. Are you and Skrillex roommates? Also, his name is Ethan Seraphim from Brazil. Well, send him my greetings. I hope he likes the music. I hope it's not too loud for him. That second little blue fish looks erratic. Skrillex and I are not roommates, but I used to live in one of his places for a while. Jesus! Let's try some. Oh god, it's just chaos. Ow! I'm very sorry, but this is all in the name of science. Okay, if we want to build cool glitches, we definitely have to modulate the level with an erratic smooth sample and hold. The distortion is a bit much, but that might be because there's just a little too much sub going into the distortion, so maybe do something like this. Also, this is... Nice. And now, oh, sub. Have that same thing modulate the sub. And then we might need another one. Could we have maybe detune or spread? All of this is very intense, I know, I'm sorry. Slow you down even more. This filter just makes everything sound like that filter right now. I'm just gonna go through some of these. Fun. Let's have you also be modulated by a sample and hold. You're also free. You are also moving erratically, going up and down. Sorry, just playing around with it. Buff readering with Serum, yeah, kind of. Valtic says, for the people asking how Spitfire bass is made, it's just the same sound ran through frequency shifter besides the phase sound, which is entirely mono. Oh, the bass in Skrillex's Spitfire. Yeah, there's definitely some, like, frequency shifting your classic FM bass is definitely a part of it, where, oh, try vocal samples in there, good idea. And then we're gonna frequency shift an FM bass. It's just, the ADHD is real, for sure. I have some shouts here. Let's restrict the position. It's creepy. What? The spread, for sure, is the main culprit. This is so creepy. Different shape. Is the y-axis doing something? Oh, the cutoff. The cutoff definitely like emphasizes certain frequencies a lot and then makes it very loud. I also made a virtual ride. Yeah, there's that one. I also made a virtual ride shape somewhere. Okay. Quick frequency shift FM bass because is fun. I guess this is the more common pattern in the Spitfire tune. So if we do some funky FM stuff, this is going to be super basic. Then frequency shifting the upper part of this does sound pretty cool and gives you a different characteristic than just your standard FM bass, which we all have. If you're making this type of music, you've kind of heard it and you can tell. I'm gonna add fat rack just for fatness, and then I made, for example, like a little frequency shifter that only goes on a certain frequency range. And then it's fun to just shift it around with that to reach other resonances and other weird overtones. And that can sometimes spice up your FM bass a little bit to make it a little more interesting than just the normal stuff you usually get. Can we... Oh, also, this needs to be on not random. Nice. That is that. There's something else I wanted to do. I was reading something and now I forgot. Ow. ADHD. You're talking about vocal samples, Spitfire bass. I'm just scrolling up real quick to see if I remember. Oh yeah, yes, I wanted to make a really fun. Yeah, the random needs to default to 0. I know what you mean. How does the boat stereo workaround work? Yes. So that's for, because I wanted to do that inside here, right? Doing a frequency shifter inside Serum, which you kind of have now, which is this boat effect. But it has the problem that by default, if you increase the range a bit, it pitches the left channel down and the right channel up. And let's make this stereo just so you can hear what's happening. And then there's this direction slider. If this is this way, now this way it goes down. If the direction is this way, now that way it goes up. But you might have noticed it's no longer stereo. The sound has become mono. I just made like, I'm gonna reduce the detune a bit, but you can still hear that this is stereo. Also, we can even put it after all this reverb stuff. So this is definitely stereo. This is no longer stereo. But at least we can now only shift it upwards. But I want to shift the whole stereo thing upwards. So how do we do that? You can split this into mid and side. So let's do a mid-side split and put the boat into both of these. Go over here. Come on. Still mono. And I'm just going to hit mono input on both of these. I think that might be important. Still mono. But I don't know if this is actually necessary. I'm going to leave that off for now. But in addition to this, we go and add a utility to the side. Switch over to side. And invert one of the polarities. Now we have stereo again, because it's basically turning, since both is turning our signal mono, we now have two mono signals, but one of them is just the side information, which is by itself, it's also just one waveform. It's the difference from left to right, which is just one single waveform, and we turn it back into side information by inverting the left or the right channel. Doesn't matter which one. Maybe it does. This sounds better. And now we could put a macro on both of the boat's shift knobs. Now we have a stereo frequency shifter in Serum. Nice. And maybe I want the sub to go direct out. Neat. And maybe increase the range to 500 on both of these. That's the only annoying thing. You need to do this on both of them. And set this up with a macro. There you go, Basti. Yeah, this has annoyed me. This has annoyed me too a little bit. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to I just want you to reset to the absolute setting. Nice. So that's how you build a stereo frequency shifter in here. You could save this, by the way. Maybe you want to, like, once you've set this up, the stereo splitter, you can save that as a. Like, you hit go here, and then you can save it as a rack. I've already saved it. There's like, it shows up here, user, VR, frequency shifter. ASMR Serum 2 fuckery to study and relax to. Voltex kind of tried to sound like Spitfire in my track with Spitfire War. All he used is massive frequency shifter with lots of VQing. Yeah, true. Is Spitfire... it's an older track, right? Was Serum already out? This kind of stuff is, if you want to like perfectly recreate exactly how it was made, that type of research is important. How old it was is Spitfire, like when that came out? And was Serum out by then already? Can you still do the completely random preset in Serum 2? Do you mean a randomly generated preset, or using lots of random modulations and that kind of stuff, like on each note? There's some fun stuff where I've made a preset that's called all chaos LFOs, where each LFO is set to just be sample and hold, and the smooth and the speed are linked to these macros. And then you can go ham and start applying that to all kinds of things to get some fun... what we got here? Get some fun stuff out of this. No, maybe not the dirty square. Let's do this with dinosaurs, for example. Oh, actually, no, let's FM. Can do some fun stuff where we have... You modulate this, for example. Oh, speed. Speed's gonna go up. You gotta be on. Nice, that is happening randomly. Then next we could have some kind of notch filter moving randomly. We could have the next, yep, this is all the, no, you go back to normal, please. Yeah. Next we could have LFO3 mess with the main tuning. But maybe I only want that to happen sometimes, not all the time. So let's maybe like this. Could also have the detune and the blend of the detune be randomized by 2 LFOs. And distort and compress. And add some weird comp filter over here. Make sure filter 1 goes to filter 2. Have the comp filter resonance be modulated and it's cut off both. A little slower, and then maybe neat. Let's add more filters. Get you. Distort. Fun, and maybe one for the volume. And one for sync over here. Fun! Cool neuro-based generator preset made very quickly. Maybe for a good measure, we could have envelope 2 on main tuning to give us that. And for good measure, also a delay. And the delay only comes up when we let go of the key. Oh yeah, you can hybridize presets together in Serum 1 and 2. It's like somewhere up here, right? Hybridize fairing select preset. Yeah, there's some stuff where it like kind of mixes the parameters of 2 presets together into a new one. Some fun stuff. Did you check out the ZebraLab 3 beta? Yes, and I can't wait for actual Zebra 3. I got to try out an early version of it at NAMM, and it was pretty cool. He just didn't know about the manual mode on the Spectral OSC, haha. Yes, I didn't. I learned something today. I learned something new every day. I think this comp filter can still go a little harder. Nice. I don't know if this volume modulation is necessary. Maybe instead we could have an EQ here, or what about disperser? The new diffuser effect to diffuser filter. Extra weirdness. Nice. This Fat Rack 2025 is available to the public. Yes, that's on my Patreon on in the shop tab. I think it's like new racks. Let me see real quick. Shop. That is in here. The Ableton Racks 2025. Have you ever done or wanted to do a film score? Yes, but I want to have enough time to focus on that and do it properly. Oh wait, Voltex. I was recreating OG Skrillex sounds from 2014 to 2016 era and were 99% close to all massive. I even used them in my tracks. I can send them if you want. I'm gonna check them out. I think I saw that collab with Spitfire, but I haven't heard it in a while. I'm gonna check it out again. I think the stream has been going on for a long time, and I gotta go get some lunch. But this was fun. I'll just play this little thing again that we ended up with. Oh, what do I hear myself? Ah, that microphone input. I'll change the BPM on accident. This was definitely a very cool patch. Home resonance vibes. If you want, you can sample that off of the video and remix it or something if you want. Sweet! Thank you very much. This was very spontaneous. I'ma go get lunch and work on some more videos. Thank you all very much for coming through. Bye.